whole school classmates to think that he's from a family of dummies. So he loves the Chinese because he thinks there's so much that has come from China, which it has. So he writes his essay, he works really hard on it, and he writes about his ancestry from China. And of course the students start to laugh, and then the teacher starts to laugh, and then he just holds his little black hands to the paper, and then he just sits down. And then there's the doll study. You know, these psychologists, what were their names? It was a husband and wife, I believe, because it was the same name. Mammy and Kenneth Clark in the 1950s, two prominent psychologists. They did this test in many American cities. And what they did was they had these kids, and they asked these kids, choose the doll that you like best, choose the doll that's the best color, and choose the doll that you don't like. And all the black kids chose the white doll. And then 40 years later, they repeated the same experiment, and they got the same result. Yeah. So I went to this panel discussion on the history of the Florida beaches the other night at, it was at the Appleton Museum, and there was some people there, they were in their, they were late 80s. And so they had lived through this. And there was this one woman, she was a model back then, cute as a bug. She was also the radio DJ. And she kind of said, you know, she grew up and she kind of said, oh, well, we kept getting more and more and more. And, you know, there were good things that were happening. And I could see the rest of the panelists kind of bristle at what she was saying. And then finally, there was a man on there who had been a teacher for a long time. Fordham was his last name. And he said, you know, I was in the armed services when I was in my teens and my early 20s. He said, I went all around the world. He said, and then I came back to America. And he said, I wasn't happy. And so one of the panelists, one of the moderators, they were asking about segregation laws. And these people were talking from their experience because they had lived through it. And they said, well, what happened if you stepped over the law? And the panelist said, you paid with your life. That was it, you were gone. You were lynched or you were gone. Joe Wilson reminded us at the banquet at the beginning of this month that in 1930 there were 1 million home loans given when they started giving home loans out. Not one was given to a black family. So that racism is a system of advantage based on race. And what can we do about it? In Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening, he writes on June 3rd, more than our mistakes. And he quotes David Peat, the buffalo feed on the buffalo grass that was fertilized by their own droppings. This grass had deep roots bound to the earth and was resistant to drought. And then Nepo writes, try as we will, we cannot escape the making of mistakes, but fortunately the ever-humbling cycle of growing strong roots comes from eating what grows from our own, I'll say excrement, but you know the word here, from digesting and processing our own humanity. Like the buffalo, we are nourished by what sprouts from our own broken trail. What we trample and leave behind fertilizes what will feed us. No one is exempt. A pipe falls on a dancer's leg, and the dancer must reinvent herself. A dear friend discovers some tumors and plants some tulips, and when he dies, his nurse begins a garden. We evolve in spite of our limitations, and though we break and make mistakes, we are always mysteriously more than what is broken. Indeed, we somehow grow from the soil of our mistakes, and often in the process, the things we refuse to let go of are somehow forced from our grip. And so our question is, what can we do about it? What can we do about it now? Well, we've seen a lot happen in our country in the last couple of years. There's, if you follow the Ocala papers, there's a lot happening up there often. I mentioned to you, I had that sense in November that we should start a racial justice team. And then a couple days later, Gregory Geis called and came here and gave his theory about, people are just not going to get it, who don't get our oneness. And the Baha'is are ahead of everybody. They have started quite a few decades ago an Institute for Racial Healing. And there's one more story in here. Let's see here, it's about the engineer. Here it is, I got an engineer on my page here. He says this black man makes a purchase at the supermarket, he said, and after loading them into his car, he was pushing his grocery cart back to the store. At this point, he said, an elderly white woman called to him, "You don't have to collect the basket because I'm going inside to shop." It was pretty clear to him, my friend said, that because he was black and dressed in casual clothes, the woman, though pleasant, had made the automatic assumption that he was an employee assigned to round up grocery carts in the parking lot. He handed over the cart to the woman without comment. He says, "Now I know she meant no harm, nor did she harbor any ill will toward me. This was perfectly natural for her." He said, "I must admit, it hurt me, especially on that day. Only 2 hours earlier, I had successfully defended my master's thesis in engineering at the University of Massachusetts." And so somebody said, "Well, did it anger you?" He said, "No." He said, "At one time it would have." He said, "But I have responded, and I've learned to respond in a noble fashion. My hope is that more people will gain that perspective, for it is a way of dissolving hate and fear in human hearts." He said he came across a passage in the Baha'i writings that intrigued him and challenged him to discover what it claimed about he and every other human being on the planet. And he recited it by heart. "O Son of Spirit, I created thee rich. Why dost thou bring thyself down to poverty? Noble I made thee, wherein thou dost abase me. Out of essence of knowledge I gave thee being. Why seekest thou enlightenment from anyone beside me? Out of the clay of love I molded thee. How dost thou busy thyself with another? Turn thy sight on to thyself, that they may findest me standing there, mighty, powerful, and subsisting." And so what he's saying here is that, as a spiritual community, I think the New Thought and all the spiritual churches need to take the lead on this. Obviously, nobody else is going to take the lead on it. And when we think about our unity principles, we know that there is a higher intelligence that's pervading the universe. We know that we are a part of that. We know our job is to see and serve the Christ in all. And we know that we have to hold in mind what we want to see, that we want to see healing. And that our work is prayer, and our work is to take action. So we can ask ourselves individually, what are you going to do about it? And we know that any movement that takes hold really requires sacrifice. So if you're going to get involved, it does mean you're going to have to spend an hour or 2 or 3 a month doing something toward this, and doing something that you're now doing, letting that go. So I ask each one of you to take that into your heart as we close this Black History Month, and to see if anything calls to you to do something about it. Namaste.
Here's a question.
Reverend Mark,
Yes.
could I say something real fast?
Sure.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm called to do this, but I've thought for so long, especially when Obama took office, we had so much discussion about he had a black father and a white mother, but nobody ever described him as being black and white. And he didn't personally usually describe himself as being black, but some of the things he's done in office have indicated that he sides. And I think of the children that have a black parent and a white parent. When we do these studies in politics, what are they? How do they feel? To hear somebody say the blacks feel this way and the whites feel that way. And as much as it seems like we're trying to bring things together in our country, they keep doing these divisions all the time. It has to be, this area is more black and they vote this way. Why not just have us be Americans? I mean, there are so many people that are, like you said, Irish, black, all kinds of combinations. If you travel around the world, you see a lot, even more combinations. And what can we do to stop designating groups as being a specific ethnic group? And the media is the worst.
Thank you, Priscilla. Appreciate
So,
it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so this is the time in our service where we get to circulate some of our good, all of our good that comes from that one source. We give thanks for the seeding that continues to happen, that ever-presence. Okay, so let us say our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
This is the best song ever, because all we need is love. Give it, give it, give it. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. There's nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. Yeah. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Everybody now. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
Hey, Jordan, you want to come up and help me bless the offering? All right. Jordan is really officially our first permanent tween. She really is. She does. All right, let us all bring our consciousness up here, giving thanks for these gifts, for these tithes, for these offerings, knowing that they go forth and they are multiplied exponentially, and they create a more loving, peace-filled, wonderful world. A world that recognizes oneness, and a world where we all live in harmony. And for this we give thanks in the name and in the nature of the Jesus Christ teachings. Amen. Amen. All right, and if you're a visitor, we get in two big circles now, and if you don't know the words to the peace song, you want to position yourself so you can see the screen.
Certainly.